Hello guys, this is Dan Mohan. Let me first of all put this screen over somewhere it's not distracting me too bad, and hopefully let's make it a little bit smaller so my head ain't so big and you can see everything that you need to see. Okay, so anyway, today this is pretty much going to stick with the title of the days of Apollo Abaddon, who is also the angel, fallen angel at that, and he's the chief of a seraphim class. There are several classes, by the way, and I'm going to have a lot to go after this video as far as people want education on the angels classes, on how God created when and the order of things, and the importance of who he is actually, and that he is unique, and that he's the only self-generated spirit. And I'll go into great detail about all that stuff and later videos immediately coming up after this video. Basically what I'm trying to say is I'm going to give this going to combine a bunch of stuff and wrap up pretty much what's going on from the it's like Rob Skiba. He's somebody that I admire, somebody that I definitely I know how he feels as far as, listen, some of these things are going to really challenge your mind, people, and I'm going to say this again, like I've said many times. Do not take my word for anything. Don't take any man's word for anything. Go to God about it, and then you'll find out the truth to all this stuff. And that's pretty much how I've found out the truth, is I've went to God about it. Because I'm going to tell you people right now, that's what's wrong with the world. We've been listening to man. We think that God gives authority to man. No, he does not. He does not give authority, his authority to man. And the last word to man. No. But he gives power to man, somebody, and he gives power from him, so you can get through him, through mankind. But it's a very unique and very rare situation. So today, I'm going to try to wrap it all up. I'm going to go, like Rob Skiba says, I'm going to declare the end from the beginning, and basically tell you that, well, here's the declaring the end from the beginning. If you want to get the truth, anything, you always want to start, if you want to get the whole gist of the story, you start from page 1, don't you? And then so you don't go to the end and say, oh, I want to just find out what happened at the end, because then you're like, well, I wonder what happened before that, right? So you want to go from the beginning and go all the way to the end. Then you'll find out that usually in the end, guess what? It goes completely back to the beginning. So it's declaring the end from the very beginning, and just like in Genesis. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take you through a quick slideshow. I'm going to do this as quick as possible, hopefully within a half hour. I really do hope it does that. So please bear with me, and let's have a prayer. I think so many of us forget to do that. We want to just jump right in and tell, and I want the truth of Christ out there. Of course I do. But deep down, if I really want the truth about him, I'm going to close my eyes. When we pray, a lot of people are misled about that. We listen to mankind. We think we are to pray out loud. Well, if we read our scripture, we find that he tells us what? To go in your closet. Do not go and boast like the ones that do, like the Pharisees do in the temples and stuff, and wearing all their pomp and everything else. It's something that we have to understand about God is it's a relationship. It's our belief in our Creator, and our trust in him, and our love and our loyalty and our love through him. So it's not supposed to be turned into a religion. That's really what's warped things more than anything, is where man keeps taking God's word and restructuring it. And then we want to ultimately, oh, it's man's fault. But I'm going to tell you something right now. Ultimately, there's one class, there's one group that's guiltier than us, because God even told him in the book of Enoch, and it's a big book I'm into, you will not be, he told these angels, the angels will seek the ones that had fallen and had done wrong. Well, Enoch was such a really great guy. I mean, he was like unique, and just like Elijah, um, he did not die a physical death yet. He went straight up to God. That's the reason why I really do believe he's one of the two witnesses. I believe Elisha is also the other one. So those are the two witnesses that you find out about in the book of Revelation. That's a whole other story, and we'll get into that another time. Like I said, we're going to refer to Enoch a lot. And you'll find that I really, several years ago, is when reading the book of Enoch, the first book of Enoch, has really opened my eyes to a lot of things. And I asked God for truth. Beware what you ask for, because you'll get it. But if it's going to be a hard process, and it's going to be um, sometimes very depressing to find out you've been duped from the very beginning, just like going back to the beginning again, right? Just like in order to tell a good lie, guess what? Yeah, a lie supports another lie, another lie, another lie, but it all goes back to the beginning. You gotta get them from the start. You gotta hook them from the start. Just like the cigarette companies like to say, we want to, we're gonna hook them right from the start, right when they're young, right when they're, But so just beware out there, because Satan's, and he's not the only the bad angel. People think, no, but he misled all the classes below him, all the ones below him. He is the chief of the cherubim. That's a major class right below the archangels and all the principalities and the thrones and things like that. But then there's a class called the seraphim. Now we go back to Azazel, Apollyon, the seraphim angels. They're called the fiery ones a lot of times. They were the ones that came in the days of Jared, and they had uh, consulted amongst themselves. And Samyaza, he's also, in my opinion, Azazel, same guy. Just and But there were a lot of other angels that were. Some of the names are so close together, that you got to remember though that some of them are different angels. Like there's Azazel. He's a totally different angel than Azazel. And just like Rumiel and stuff like that, there's Ramiel. And so you just beware of that. And just remember that God pretty much in the book of Enoch, and that's why I like to refer to it. Now, the secrets of Enoch, it is apocryphal, so you got to beware. But the book of Enoch, is as long as if you get it as closest to the Ethiopic original writings and the translations, then you'll find it to be about the purest scripture you're going to find. And some people will not dare venture and say, "Oh, I believe this is." I'm not saying this is divine scripture. Well, I'm going to say that it is divine and divinely inspired, and definitely much more than most of. I do believe that the Bible that we've been handed down, even though the King James version is about the best you're going to get, considering during this time and era, ever since King James, everything has just got worse as far as the editing, the translation. Because how are you going to purify something from something that's not pure, right? So, and the only way to basically do that is go back to the beginning. And so what we do find is that the book of Enoch, and if you get the ones that are closest to the Ethiopic, not Slavonic, because Slavonic, there's a lot of truth in there, but at the same time, there's a lot of deceptions in it too, because they put Roman names in it to throw off the authenticity of it. They threw in the Lord's Prayer and the secrets of Enoch. That really threw it off, so it doesn't make it look like it even came really from Enoch or Methuselah, who is the son of Enoch, and then Noah, who is the grandson. So we find out about the Anunnaki, who are the fallen angels, same ones, and do not be misled by ancient angel. I made a video actually not too long ago called Ancient Angels. I mean ancient aliens, but because really there's no such thing as aliens. Okay, just like, and that's their biggest plan right now, and their strong delusion is to deceive people in the shape of the earth, the geocentricity of the sun, and how local they really are, and that space is fake, all this other stuff, and the moon landed. Listen, if you, like I said, don't take man's word for it. Don't take my word for it. Take God's word for it. But if you want to take somebody as far as authoritarian or word for it, you'll hear it from NASA themselves tell you we have never left Earth's orbit. We can't. And they're looking forward to doing it one day. That's because they're wanting to bust the firmament. But it's not spaced the way we've been taught. Just like we've been told and indoctrinated from the get-go about the globe and everything else. Anyway, let's go ahead and start with the slides. Oh, sorry. I don't know what happened there. Anyway, so, yeah, so what we see here, obviously I'm anti-Illuminati. The illuminated ones, see, they're really going to try to hook, line, and sink people because with some of this stuff they'll make them think that they're being enlightened and that they're getting, well, this knowledge they're getting is bad knowledge, and it's either destructive. Now it could be used, some of this knowledge could be used for great purposes, but of course they're not going to, they're ultimately going to do it to deceive and to keep the ones that are in power. And sadly, the evil ones are in charge right now, and they're going to want to keep it that way now, aren't they? So anyway, so we see, we think of this right here, this pyramid. Oh, we just think, dollar bill, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? This rock here has been dated as best and anyway, because you got to remember, with carbon dating, carbon dissipates and it's harder to, you cannot classify it or give an age to it. It's one of the worst elements ever to try to do that with. So it's, all this dating they throw at us and stuff like that, it's not near to precision, now some of the stuff they do know that we're about of the AIDS, but they're going to lie about it. So it's like this rock here, this thing is pre-Phoenician. Yeah, pre-Phoenician. That means it's older than 5,000 years. So it was before the Great Flood. So that tells you what, there was a plan set in order from right after Satan had fell and came down to deceive Adam and Eve, and they got kicked out of the garden. And anyway, this we equate it to the dollar bill and stuff, or Freemasons and things like that. Well, guess what? It is all that. And we keep it on our dollar bill and stuff. So people think it's innocent, but it's not. It's a 13-step level, first of all, and that's underneath the 33 degrees, which you're going to find even with Satan, Yakun in his Hebrew name, and he had 4 other chiefs with him. He's of the cherubim class again. They were the chief ones. Those are the ones that we consider planets. Those are the wandering stars. They are above the firmament. What is the firmament? A lot of people just skip right over that in the Bible. They just assume, which we all know what assuming does. I don't even want to have to say it. But yeah, you don't want to assume anything, because a firmament is not what most people would want to, it's part of the earth or something like that. Or no, come on now. If it was, God wouldn't have that as a unique word and only use it once in that reference. And from what we know, there's only one firmament between us and the heavens above. And I believe that is the case. And then there's, I believe, an extra firmament above it that separates the highest heaven. And that's what traps. There's several prisons. A lot of people think that hell is the only prison down below. If you read the book of Enoch, once again, you find out, he goes into detail to talk about, according to their crimes and the classes and what they've done, there's several prisons. And one of the prisons is trapped in between these two firmaments, what I'm speaking of, where the water is. When God says he separated the water from above, from the waters below, placed the firmament there, and, that's where all these chief planets are trapped in right now. Now, they're trying to bust that to this very day. You'll even hear Hillary Clinton talk about, one day we'll be able to bust that highest ceiling. And, people, that's what's sad, is all these politicians, all these people we look to, and blah, 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 guess what? They're Freemasons. Every one of them, high-level Freemasons. Now, not all of them know exactly what's going on. No, especially the lower politicians. They definitely don't know all of what's going on. And you have to definitely be above the 33 degree before you get a pretty good scope of what's going on. But a lot of Freemasons don't even know what they're involved in. And that's what's sad. But they'll even I saw a video the other day, they'll talk about how they don't want, people to believe that they're, somebody asked, some news in a representative said, so is it true? Are you guys a secret organization? And the first one, no, of course not. No, that is not true. That's what they said. Okay, then. Now ask any person that'll tell you right now that if you go in there, if you're not going to be accepted in there, and if you're just there to vibe, oh, you're welcome to see part of it. You're allowed to walk into a front room, but you're not allowed to go in past that to where the secret proceedings go on. Oh, they're not secret, but then everything after that and news crew, none of us normal people are allowed in there, but they're not secret. Come on. And it is flat out lie to us, people. They do it on a regular basis, just like when they hand us a globe from the get-go. You see the 13 steps, everything, a new world order. So, people, so we've got the warnings from George Bush. I'm not even going to go in great detail about that. We've had it from Obama. We've had it from it's gone way back. And like I was trying to tell you about this Azazel guy, Apollyon, because that's what I want us to beware of. He is the chief lieutenant. He's the prince of hell, the prince of darkness. He will have more power in hell than any other angel, even over Satan, because a lot of people don't know. They haven't read the book of Nicodemus because it was purposely left out, so you wouldn't know a lot of good stuff. Just like over 70 books, actually, books were admitted. And these books were not at all, just conjecture. No, these were written by very valid prophets that we look up to this very day, but they don't want us to know little secrets about the shape of the earth. And the reason why I'm not gonna really harp on the flat Earth thing, majigger. Listen, I don't even like the term the flat Earth just because of the way people have made it sound. And the reason why I looked up, or still do, look up to Rob Skiba, people like Vince Rhodes, they're still sticking it through because you know what, you're not gonna be popular after telling people this. And in fact, I thought so much of I did very well in school. Actually, I got 2 degrees. I got certificates in mechanics. On top of that, I'm a musician. I played music, and that's a deception in itself. So you got to be aware of that. I had to get out of that because quit playing rock and roll because you know what? It's not really it's who you're playing for. Are you playing for God or are you playing for the industry? Because if you're playing for the industry, guess what? You're playing for Satan. So, because you'll see that in Hollywood, how Hollywood casts a spell on you. So, you'll see that a lot of this is just all deception. They hand you a globe right from the very beginning. But I thought it was the most ridiculous. I thought it was a conspiracy to throw off real conspiracies, real validated conspiracies, until I tried to prove it wrong. And I tried so hard. It took me a couple years, but finally I was convinced. Guess what? The earth is flat-like. It's level is the best way I put it. Level, straight across. Because why do we use a level? How can you use a level if the earth is a sphere? That's the biggest question I've ever had in my mind, period, is a level itself that's used for construction. How is that even possible to use it to make sure your house is level with what? Level with what? If the earth is a sphere, then it's ridiculous, people. Water, the way the oceans are, blah, blah, blah. Water doesn't wrap around things. You see that when you fill up the bathtub, right? When you fill up your swimming pool, it stays flat, right? So that proves the earth to be level right there. The fact that you're not feeling going around, and notice the numbers again, like I'm telling you about all this being Satan uses numbers and kind of like a mockery towards God and Christ. 66,600 miles per hour we're spinning. And then there's other mathematics that involve 666 in it. 266,600 miles from the moon. Yeah, so that's a big red flag. Anytime you see three sixes together and nothing else, or I mean, you might see some other numbers around it, but I mean, basically not like a 6 0 6 0. I don't mean it like that. I mean, it has to be right against each other and just that 666, and you'll find that time and time again in a lot of these astrological or astronomical values that they give us and everything. But NASA, which means deception in itself in Hebrew, you'll find out a lot of Hebrew things that were WWW, numerical value 666. That's the reason why I'm trying to tell people right now, and I'm getting to the point where I want to put these videos out, get it out there as truthful as possible, and I want to throw away all my computer stuff. I don't want to have anything to do with this stuff because I realized how much I've been deceived. And you know, like the things that the logos that we carry, the things like Patriots, come on, everything. I had to throw away Pink Floyd, or you know, it's a pyramid that represents kind of the same type of Illuminati disorder and deception and stuff. Their level, they look at it as their way of order, but their way of order is disorder, and they think that they can create order through disorder and chaos, which is obviously ridiculous. It would collapse upon itself. It may hold up for a second, but it's going to collapse upon itself. And ultimately, all these people are doing is deceiving themselves to the very end until the days they die. Well, what is to be gained? Well, I'll tell you. Just like I told you about these angels, there is nothing to be gained. Because they already know, these angels, that's the reason why they are the worst as far as more guilty. If you want to say who's guiltier, man or the fallen angels. And because they're the ones that misled mankind in the first place. But that's no excuse. Mankind has no, we should be listening to God first. He's our creator after all. Doesn't it make sense to listen to the one that made you rather than somebody that can't make you, or somebody doesn't even have close the ability? Now, when we talk about mixing things God's already put on the earth, that's not creating. That's manipulating. And that's what Satan did along with he would try to mess around with man's seed and stuff, and he'd make hybrids. He'd make slave species. He'd make all this stuff. That's a whole nother story. I'll go into detail another time. But yes, God came basically to save us from Satan. Because when he got kicked, about the war in heaven, when he got kicked out and cast down to the earth, well, this was Satan's first imprisonment. That was as far as it was going to go there for a while. But nope, Satan had to take what animals God had on the earth and start messing with them and then make a slave species. Because the lesser angels didn't like being slaves to the higher angels, basically. And there was a big war amongst them. Now, that's in Anunnaki lore. Now, they're trying to make it look like they're a bunch of aliens, and even people like Eric von Däniken, they're going to try to lie about that. They're going to give you false translations. But thankfully, and I'll try to go into that in one of my videos also, I have a couple of the true Anunnaki origins of the way things really were, and it shows you all the connections before people like Eric von Däniken came and turned it, kind of twisted things here and there. And when I was getting back to the Bible, that's why I don't listen to man, because anything that gets placed in man's hands is going to get manipulated. It's just a given, especially while they're on this earth, because nothing on this earth can be holy. For anything that touches this earth cannot be holy, because Satan's already corrupted it so bad. So anyway, we see about these Anunnaki energies on the earth, and yes, we just talked about these demons. Like they even had me deceived from the beginning. It took me years. Like I said, past 7 years, 7, 8 years is when I really turned back to God and Well, I had some very, very convincing experiences. I died, for one, for 38 minutes. Was pronounced dead by the coroner. Now, he would even tell you it's a miracle. Why? Because I should be brain dead. Anybody would think that. Anybody would know that. There's no way. So God had to have his hand on it. There's just no other way. I met the Grim Reaper. He was not some angel with a robe and a scythe. No, he was a big fiery angel, and he was very scary. He looked like a cross between what we look as a G.G. Gray alien face, like a big ant head, mixed with a skeletal head. But I'll tell you what, he wanted to take me with him. But he told me, telepathically somehow, told me, he says, to get it right this time, I want to take you with me, but I can't. But you could tell he couldn't. He was hoping I wouldn't wake up. Anyway, so we've heard throughout history all these different types. We've got renditions of all these different types of demons through India, which was Satan was originally cast down to. If you read the original book of Adam and Eve, like I said, you will find all these books to be somewhat, even the story of Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel. They switched the roles. In our version, from the King James Version on, our version that we've got shows that Cain was the actual vegetable grower, and Abel was the sheep herder, and God wrong. I got a much rawer version of the Adam and Eve story, and it was read to, guess what? Ethiopia. And Ethiopic scribes had, Egyptian scribes had redid it, basically, but it was from Ethiopia. And that's why I think they've got to have the best. I'd love to get my hands on their original books, But anyway, India is the land of the serpent. Well, guess what? We're the new land of the serpent. America is. Because guess what? America means land of the serpent. I also think it is Mystery Babylon. This right here that you're looking at, something I destroyed not too long ago. There's a culture older than the Sumerians. It's antediluvian. It's pre-flood. It's called the Vinca culture. Vincan. So all these little symbols, if you keep an eye on them all the way around it, and if you flip it, I don't know why I didn't put the other side on here yet, but there's even the Nazi sign on here, because it all comes from the Nephilim. These symbols represent Nephilim. These are men, which became a language. They took an angelic language, basically, which was pre-Phoenician, and then they manipulated it, and then and gave themselves names to uphold themselves and stuff, to make themselves sound beautiful and angelic, and blah blah blah. So they took something beautiful once again and made it ugly. So if you looked at, I brought this even into a grand temple. I was like, I had to figure out what this was before I knew. And the Illuminati even told me themselves, even though it was a high-level Freemason, he was in the Illuminati. He goes, well, it's not one of ours, but I sure would like to have it. I was like, I bet you would. I took that thing home. I could not destroy it. I tried to crush it. I tried to bend it, brought it in the machine shop, tried to bend it in a vise. This thing it got back to me twice. It got stolen once, but then I found it again in the same exact place in my yard, in the same exact place in my yard. Well, anyway, I found out 3,300 degrees would take care of that little booger real quick, and it did. It melted it down to nothing. In fact, part of it got melted into my finger, and it's still there. So, hopefully I didn't do any, either way. Jesus has power, authority over everything. Yeshua. It's his Hebrew name, also. Hebrew. So we find out about all these fallen angels, the Anunnaki, and what I was trying to tell you about the ancient angels and ancient aliens, how they deceive it. Those who came from above. No, it does not mean that. It means the sons of Anu. Now, Anu is God, but guess what? They distort him eventually and make him sound like he's just some regular cat or some regular god, that he descended from another god. And that, like a servant can become greater than its master. Now, what does Yeshua tell you? He says, no servant is greater than his master. So, come on. Well, anyway, they had to distort that even. And Anu and try to give him a dad later when people say, well, who's his dad? If you're saying Marduk is can supersede Enki now. Enki is Azazel, by the way. Same dude. Following it. So, we're always talking in all these different civilizations. Different civilization. Same person, different name. Different language. Blah, blah, blah. So let's skip here because I have a tendency to ramble about things too much. And I really want to get through this and compact it for you. So we find about the earth. Yeah. We've been lied to from the get-go. We've been indoctrinated, been handed a globe, pretty much been crammed in our faces. You're restricted, but not allowed to go to Antarctica. But no, they'll tell you, it's about, you're allowed to go there. But no, you're not, people. Try to go there right now. Try to check about it, even. You'll find out, no, you have to have you have to be government sanctioned. And it has to be agreed upon by several countries, not just one. So anyway, that means there are a lot of countries involved. Most of all your big countries, they're all, if they don't play along, guess what? We throw a tsunami at them with our earthquake machine like we did Japan, because they didn't want to play by the book with the Illuminati not too long ago, and they were like, didn't we tell you we had an earthquake machine? You don't believe us? All right. They found out. All right. So, aside the fact from the ice wall, come on, people. There's just so many proofs of why. Proofs. Now, I want somebody to actually give me proof the earth is a sphere. That's what I tell people all the time. There has not been one proof yet. If you could say, because we are about a balloon, that's not proof, because guess what? That's all CGI. We do not have any photos from above the earth. And if you think those are real, and you can't tell that those are CGI or manipulated, and they use screens to block off part of it, and you use the GoPro lens and everything to help twist it, make it circular, they'll even tell you that sometimes. This is, a fisheye lens, blah, blah, blah. No. Anytime you see a picture like that where they say it's above the earth and you see that black space behind, first of all, where's the stars at? It tells you right there. And number two, it's low Earth orbit. And if you do the math and you relate it to what the actual land sizes are, you'll find it to be much huger than much larger than what it should be. So that tells you it's just pictures that high, low Earth orbit. And which is low Earth orbit, in my opinion, means low atmosphere, because there is no orbit. There's a circular clockwise motion of the sun and the moon that go over us, the dome over us, the firmament, the watchers. You hear about them in Anunnaki lore. There's good angels, the ones that stay in their appointed places and then go about their appointed paths. Yeah, those are the good ones. And these are the ones that stay in the constellation. But when they start to break apart, guess what? They're falling apart. That means they're leaving their, path. Or once in a while, some of them have to go tend to a bad angel or something bad or God wants them to do. So they're trying to bust that right now so they can let the chief, what we call the chiefs, the pagan. Why do we name planets after false gods? Because they are. People, truth is out there. It's right in your face. And we're not even looking at it. We're sitting there listening to conjecture or mythology or legends and a fake history that they've given us the whole time. Because I can guarantee this too. Anything past 100 years and anything actually past more than 70 years, you better doubt it. And I mean, completely as being history. Almost all of our history has just been rewritten. It's fake. They want you to believe what they want you to believe, so it goes along with their plan to help do this fake alien invasion they're about to do, just like they do so many other false flags, 9/11, blah, 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 Boston. Oh, man, crisis actors, look that up. I'm going to give you words to look up so I don't have to go in too much detail. I think that's what I'll do from now on. Things to look up, and that way it'd be so much quicker. Number one, look up NASA admits we have never left the Earth's orbit. Look that one up. Number two, look up numerical values for www. Look up, let me see, there's another one. Use your actual science. Use some of the stuff that is real science, not fake science. because there's so much of it that's just fake, you know. If it can't be proven right there in front of you, then, you know, you better doubt it. And I'm not saying that it's always false. I'm just saying that most of the time it is. And you should doubt it at least. God wants you to test these things. He wants you to, don't take just somebody's word for something. No, well, how do you know you're not supposed to? Because the government said we did. I saw it on TV. You did. You know what else I saw on TV? What? So yeah, I seen a movie called Independence Day. Did that happen? Does that mean it's real? Get my point, people? That doesn't prove anything. And a few Hollywood tricks, spells, you know, doesn't mean anything. Read these, by the way, why I'm passing through them. United Nations, yes, uses this. They use what the actual state of the earth is. Like Christ said, if you cannot believe what I say about the earthly things, how are you going to believe me about the heavenly things? That's what he's referring to. Stuff like this, people. He's trying to give you, you know, props and heads up on, hey, they're going to try to trick you about the very even condition of the earth. They tried to make maps. For the longest time, they couldn't explain to people how we live on a ball. Because it sounded totally preposterous. Think about it, people all for thousands and thousands of years, and they were able to build things we can't even build right now. They all knew the earth was flat until when? The past, what, 100, 200 years? They really started trying to push it with Copernicus. And, you know, 500, but it wasn't taken very well. And only during this past 100 years has it really been taking pretty good grounds. Why? Well, because the Hollywood tricks have got better. You know, these are all demon deceptions, people. The Nephilim, they lost their bodies. Now, he didn't say that they couldn't be forgiven spiritually. Because I believe that some of them can. Because you got to remember who's ultimately responsible. These seraphim knew what they were doing. These were angels. Their habitation was from heaven. The Nephilim, they were earthly, just like we are. So, you understand what I'm trying to basically say? Right. So, who's guilty? The ones that cannot be forgiven no matter what. Or the ones like us who can be forgiven. Doesn't give you an excuse, though, people. I'm just trying to get your head wrapped up on it. To make you... Because, see, another big trick and another big lie they've been pushing is about how you came from monkeys or how evolution. And we've proven Darwinism wrong over and over again. And people are still ignoring it. And, you know, simple things like if a monkey turned into a man or evolved into a man, why are monkeys still monkeys? Very good point. I mean, just on and on and on and on and on. No, if anything, we've been downgraded. They've mixed animals into us to make us less pure. They sure have, people. In fact, you're probably part Nephilim and don't even know it. I'd say we all are, somewhat. There's only maybe a few that are pure, and that's not going to last long either. So that's why God had to start all over again with Noah and everything. Just let the earth replenish itself, refurbish it. This was a map that we used all the way up until, I think, 1930 something, or what was it? Somewhere around there anyway, or maybe the 40s. But either way, it was all used all the way up past 1900s, easy. This was our map that we used. Our government uses this type of map, a map very similar to that. I'll show it to you in a few. But it's going to show you what they don't want you to see is like what the Perry Reese map shows, and that they like to keep blotted out this little section of the map. The North Pole, by the way, which you're going to find out about, where the Garden of Eden was pulled up and ascended up, and that there's a vortex there. And it goes down into there. I believe that there's somewhat of a hollow inches in the earth. Of course, there's got to be, or there wouldn't be a hell. But on a whole, they're going to try to make it look like we're on a sphere, and it's all hollow all the way through, and blah, 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 all the way through, all the way to the other side. No, that's not how it goes. No. The earth has foundations. There is a pit, and he calls it the bottomless pit. But that pit does not go around through a sphere. It goes just all the way down into everlasting darkness to where it can be swallowed up, and God can throw away hell in the end altogether. Because what's he do at the end? He only not just throws it. People think they're going to be punished forever spiritually in hell. And I'm not trying to make you feel any better about getting away with sins, but he makes it clear that he will even destroy their spirits completely. Now, that's an eternal punishment. That's what he means by eternal punishment. For eternally, you will never exist again. Ever. So that's an eternal punishment. So think about that, people. That's just another story there. Mount Meru. There's a lot of things going on in Antarctica right now we found out about. And in fact, the Bible, when it refers even talking about the 4 rivers, this is what it's referring to. They manipulated it later, of course, and then added a bunch of Egyptian stuff. That's why I'm trying to tell you, people. Like the book of Adam and Eve, if you get the one I read before they've done any type of changing, you'll find out the truth. God has never been for any type of blood sacrifice, period. And no, he liked Abel's sacrifice because guess what? He didn't go kill something. And then think, oh, this is going to cover my sin. How is that going to cover you? How are you going to kill something of God's that he created and then be forgiven? No, you just committed another wrong, a horrible crime. And when we talk about murder and killing, we're not just talking about human beings. We're talking about God's creatures on this earth. And so God came along and saved us from what Satan had to do. He breathed life into us and spirit into us. I mean, of course, they're already moving as fleshly beings, because this is all this is a test, people. Because God doesn't want to find out after another 10,000 years, you're a spoiled little kid just like Satan. It's not because it's God. God does not make mistakes. He knows what he's doing. But this is what I kind of look at as a quick filtering process. It saves everybody a bunch of trouble. And it keeps things from happening over again like what Satan would do again. It keeps it from happening. It will never be possible again after what God is doing now. After he's done with this, guess what, people? This can't be done. This is never going to happen again. He makes that clear. There's going to be nothing but goodness to look forward to forever and ever and ever and ever. Okay? These are mapped projections. National Space Federation. You used to be able to level down so far on Google Earth, and you had to be at the right elevation, very exact elevation. Because if you were off just a little bit, guess what? You couldn't get it. And now you can't get it at all because they made sure they blocked it out, because people like me, because I'll sit there for hours trying to figure something out. I will. If I saw something, oh, wait, no, I'm going back and I'm going to find that again. And I did, and it took me a while, but I found it. This is what they're planning in Antarctica. And you've heard things from what's his name, Buzz Aldrin, where he went down to Antarctica and then posted a picture of these pyramids, except he had a totally different view. He had the front view from the 3D view type of view, like you're on the ground, and said there's an ancient evil there. That he was sick. I guess he had a heart attack and everything else from it. It scared him to death. Well, there's been a lot of high-level Freemasons and politicians going down there lately. Haven't you noticed? So when you talk about this World War III, and then even what's his name, Byrd, Admiral Byrd, had said that the next war was going to involve, stuff like UFOs and blah blah blah. Well, guess what? UFOs exist. They're just not what you think they are. Not all of them are exactly physical. There's interdimensional things going on, people here. That's the reason why some of these crafts are able to just defy everything, physics. Why? Because they're not physical. That's simple. Just like God can defy any of our physics, because why? He's not physical. He works in a whole different set of principles than any at all. Even his sons. So he's unique in that. He's the only self-generated spirit. Does that mean he created himself? Yes. That doesn't mean he just went, how's that possible? People want to know. That's my whole point. It's on a whole new set of principles that you can't understand it. But obviously it's possible. Right? So I think he's always been there, and we just don't. We think there's time, but time doesn't exist. It's just the way it is. It's like God had to put the sun and the earth down, or sun, the sun and the moon down as and said use those and the stars and stuff as for times and seasons and blah blah changing seasons. This is Antarctica. See, not only are we talking about Antarctica going clear around us, which it did, and Cook, he was a famous explorer, naval explorer. I think in the early 1900s or late 1800s, I think. At late 1800s, I do believe. And he tried to, really explore Antarctica, but he could not find an inlet. So he kept going and going, and he noticed it was going not the way it should be, what he thought it would, as far as what their maps had shown. So they had to redraw a lot of their maps, and they keep them hidden. But went over, I think, 69,000 miles. 60, yeah, it was like amazing. So yeah, went over 60. I think it was 67,000 miles that they went around, that they logged. So there's your proof right there about Antarctica going completely around, and we live on a level flat Earth. Now let's get off the flat Earth stuff so much. We want to talk about this whole point of deception, the Hollywood tricks, the spells, the demon tricks. All right, now some of these demons, they're going to try to release their parents. Why? Because they feel like that's their only. Some of them loved being worshipped as gods. I'm sure that there's a few repentful ones. That's the reason why you'll hear that there are good spirits and bad spirits. Well, yeah. And we are to test these spirits now. Now, some of them have been fallen, right? Now, how about the demons, though? They're not fallen angels, though. You understand what I'm saying? Nephilim are different. They are, and that they have a chance. In other words, if they accept the head of days, Yeshua, they can be saved. And guess what? They're going to be like, okay, we screwed up. We listened to our parents. We lost our bodies. But we're going to lose our bodies too. So you get my point? So they're going to try to work along with Christ and try to fight evil themselves too. So remember that. And pray to God for whatever spiritual help he can give you. Look how easy it is. I want to show you. This is what my point is. You think they can fool us with it? Well, guess what? This was a matter of seconds. I mean, like, just seconds. That's just me just messing around. Matter of seconds. Just taking a normal photo. There's the town I live in getting bombed. Obviously. Here's just a video I made real quick. Just goofing around. To show people how easy it is to see people. And they were sleeping. I showed this to somebody. Said, like, there was something like that in here. I was like, oh my goodness. Wow, people are. It's like that movie Spider-Man I watched just recently, the last one, the Homecoming 2 or whatever it is. Mysterio or blah, blah, blah. See, we got to now I try to use what I know about them and show people how they represent a lot of things that are deceptions that are going on, and that the truth is right in front of you sometimes. Because, see, I've heard it said 1,000 times, they have to tell you what they're doing. That's part of the thing. That way it makes them feel like it's validated. And it does kind of validate it. It's kind of like, all right, it's not a sin if it's done completely out of ignorance, is it? No, you had no clue. But if you knew ahead of it, well, I shouldn't be, then guess what? It's a sin. And there's a lot of stuff we see every day, and it enters our heads. And I know this happens with you people too. And you'll think twice about it. There's nah, it's not that, because it doesn't say it straight out. Now, you know deep down it's wrong. So this is like a lot of things. So I'm going to show you even with the space, not just the things that we see on the earth, even with the space that now and stuff that they're really going to be throwing at us with this fake alien invasion stuff, how easy it is to deceive. What do you see there, people? This is the International Space Station, right? This is this is one of their pictures until I did something to it. Can you tell? I think you can. You see 2 UFOs, don't you? One there and one right there. One below the sun and one to the left of it. Okay, so that easy. Oh, look, there's just 2 little demons right behind me. Oh, wait, they're aliens, right? demons, people. Think about it. They're aliens. And if they're able to advance, they'd have genitals for one. Number two, where's the clothes at? Number three, and they even say they do have clothes. Why do they look evil? Because they are evil. Truth in plain sight, people. All right, so while they're sitting there laughing at us and everything else, I want you to think about this Illuminatiism that we're talking about. They even shape the star constellations that they make out there with this CGI crap, fake space. Look at that. See that? It's the Eye of Horus. How convenient. Same thing on top of the dollar bill pyramid. Now, you can see, we're going to get, like what I was saying, low Earth orbit pictures. This is look how close them clouds are now. Come on, that tells you right there that they're not way out off the Earth. Because those clouds would be a lot further away. You wouldn't be able to see them like that. It'd be all misty. There would be according to what they've told us in science. They've told us, even, using their own science against them, proves this whole thing not to be real. Fake. Plus, look at the bend. Does your eyes play tricks on you too? Does your eyes... I trust my eyes much more than I used to. In fact, I tell people, well, don't believe everything you see. No, because they throw stuff out in front of you all the time. And you, wow, I know it's real because I saw it. But at the same time, there are little things and hints your eyes will tell you if you're being deceived. Notice the bend, the curve. It's not even, is it? Notice how the right is just not perfectly... No, that is not symmetric. If you go like that, kind of. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Look at that. That's not even right. And what's a raindrop doing out there? Or what's water bubble doing on it? Oh, come on. Yeah. So even their CGI stuff like this right here, you can't get the, with the Google Earth, when you try to even look at their globe or their sphere, you can't get it to rotate all the way up and down. It'll lock on both sides. So that tells you right there that, hey, guess what? That if they're limiting it, like it should be able to spin all the way around. Why is it? No, there's something to it. Because what they do is they take something flat and then they bend it. They bend it. Huh. That's the only way you're going to get water to bend is by what? Us making it look like it bent. That's it. You can't really get water to bend. See, now this is a picture within seconds. This happened. I mean, mere seconds. I was like, oh, we just traveled 58,000 miles in 3 seconds. Now, do you think that's possible? No. Come on. This, now, I want you to know this too. Yes, people, there are some true stuff out there, stuff you're going to see. It's going to really flip you out. Well, I know there's got to be honest because I saw a UFO. Well, guess what? I took this picture, and that's a real picture. And it has not been altered. I'm going to tell you which ones have been altered and which haven't. And I'll tell you, I bought I know it was a government camera, and somebody lost it because they got kicked out of the CIA, but I'm not going to go into detail about that because it's above 1,140 times zoom. Super def, not just high def, beyond high def camera. And this picture is not taken with it. This is just by a regular camera. But I'm going to show you some pictures with my Canon. And it proves the Earth to be level. And it proves that the sun is much smaller and it's local. Because I'm going to show you some stuff. Some of these pictures that's going to, you can take it to any photo professional and he's going to tell you this is not manipulated. Because everyone I brought it to, everyone I know to be a professional anyway, they cannot explain it. And they cannot, they can't argue against its authenticity. Authenticity. I got big lips or something. I don't know. I can't talk right. Anyway, so I'm going to tell you what's real and what ain't. And this is so much closer. That's all I'm doing is scoping in on it. And this was whenever the light would go off and it started to tilt to get and leave. This same craft shows you what? It's one of them whatever disc-like UFOs. You can see it, can't you? I hope. See it? Yeah. Yeah, pretty easy to see. And it's just tilted to the side. Whoa, didn't mean to do Um, yeah, so, we got our real pictures. This was a real picture released before they went and bended it or did some type of stuff, got their dirty hands on it. This was one where somebody was talking about um, the balloons that they set up. This shows you what, people? Do you notice something about the light on it? This light is bright right over there to the left, right? Now, this is not some type of photo where they did a double of it and then blotted out the sun on the other. No, but it shows you something very important. Number one, it shows you light refraction off of what? What's it refracting off of? How's this light over on the right side too? Almost as bright as over there, except for the obvious luminary bright, part where it looks like a bulb. It's because we're under the firmament, and it's bouncing off of that and reflecting. Okay. Also, major fact, science again. Once again, use your own science, and you'll find all this crap that they want to sound professional to be crap. People, I know we didn't like geometry. I know we didn't like algebra. But you know what? I knew that it would pay off to pay attention to some of that stuff. I knew it. Now, some of it's total crap, especially calculus and things like that. I mean, some algebra, advanced algebra, total just junk. No. And in fact, you'll even see with the decimal system, the reason why they stick with it in so many countries, even in Japan now, is because it's more accurate. But our mathematical system is by far perfect. Because, first of all, how are you going to multiply nothing by something and then have nothing? That don't make sense. That always bothered me from the get-go. I tell it to so many people, and they were like, well, but they never come up with an excuse. They can't. You got a good point. Only because of the grace of God, I'm telling you. So it's not just the Egyptians know this. Look, they knew we're under a firmament. They know we live on a flat earth. Look, showing the stars, just like I told you. Stars are spirits, by the way. That's what you're seeing. Soul glow. That's what I call it. Soul glow. I'm going to do a whole video just on soul glow and tell you about the chief planets. The reason why they look geometric and artificially made is because there is an artificial made barrier around them. God put them in a temporary holding cell. Each one of them get their own little holding cell. The chiefs do, binding each one of them, and they're trapped in the firmament. And if you notice, they're all sectagons, or whatever you call it. It's got 6 sides, and well, the regular stars, the ones that don't leave their paths and stay in their constellations, like the Archers or the Sagittarius or the Scorpios, you'll notice they don't have no geometry. They look natural. They flicker too. Like just all over the place. Just don't have any real order to it. But they're staying that one place. They're a pointed path. Navajos knew it. Mayans knew it. Incas knew it. Egyptians knew it. All these civilizations knew it, except for us. We're the only idiots in time period that believe the earth is a sphere. I think it's so pathetic too, people. Yeah, I really do. I think it's horribly pathetic. Shows you how smart we are, huh? We're all talking, they were a bunch of dummies back then. Huh. Right. There's nothing new under the sun. Thus saith the Lord. No. If anything, we're the dummies. Because we take everybody at their word. Or they said, I saw on TV. Blah, blah, blah. That's not how they did stuff back in the day. They went out and they did their homework. They went out and they did their experiments on their own. They had to get proof. They didn't just go listen to somebody, especially a bunch of bozos dressed in lab coats. Anyway, why they got us all deceived with all this stuff? They're polluting our skies. For real. We all know about this to be a truth now. All of us know this. When this used to be a conspiracy theory, now it's a true conspiracy. It's a fact. They even admit it fully. Yeah, we can admit it, but they'll tell you it's for other reasons. They'll tell you it's for weather experiments or to help rain. well, there's the thing called HARP. It's weather manipulation. And they'll tell you it's just an experimental thing. No. They manipulate it, just like I told you, the earthquake machine. Chemtrailing, not only are they messing with the weather, but they're also making your atmosphere toxic. Too many people in the world, Rockefeller said, so this New World Order wants to kill you off completely. So get used to it. Because that's they assume they're going to pull a major one within a year. I guarantee it. And I don't like to promise, I don't like to swear or anything, but I do guarantee, and I can't guarantee anything at all, but I can guarantee you this. You know how I know? Because I know. When God sticks something in my heart, believe me, it's like I was telling somebody the other day, I used to not go by my first instinct, and I think about all the times where if I'd just gone with my first instinct. I remember when I was on there, I remember when I was a little kid, I thought about the earth. I was looking at the globe, and I was like, this just don't seem right. My first instinct was that this can't be real. I don't feel the spinning. Why is it when I jump up in the air and land up in the exact same place? That doesn't even make sense. If we lived on this sphere like they're saying, spinning, doing this, then no, that wouldn't happen. We'd be like, yeah, you get my whole point. Just use a little bit. It hurts, people. It does. It hurts to know you've been lied to like this. I know. It hurts when your whole world comes saying, and this is not going to make you popular. We're going around telling people the truth about the earth being flat and level and everything. But God makes it clear over 238 times in the Bible. The earth is immovable. It cannot be moved. It cannot be. It is stationary. It is fixed. And it is set upon its pillars. There's too many scriptures that people say the earth is a flat earth Bible. Well, guess what? I'm not going to say it's a flat earth Bible because it's ultimately about your belief in your Creator and Yeshua, what He did for you, sacrifice. But it is a book that validates and mentions and says clearly from God the state of the earth being level and flat. I will say that. Because its primary function was not to talk about the flat earth. But I tell you what, the flat earth is very, very, very important because so many other things are founded on. So many of His other truths and His handiwork. So they're tricking us with this space and the CGI. And you think you can go out here and go through a vortex or whatever they think, please don't believe it, people. It's just all crap. So this is pretty much the condition of when God looks down. When He looks straight down, I guess. I don't know exactly what His viewpoint is, but He says He sits above the circle of the earth. Doesn't silver a ball or a sphere. Remember, a circle. Circle, people, does not mean sphere at all. Does not mean ball at all. I walk circles around people all the time, and does that mean I walk the ball around them? No. Right there proves this is a real photo. Shows you what? Your firmament. Yep. The stars even show it to you. The spirits out there. Now, granted, some of these pictures that you'll see that they'll have out there, they're going to manipulate, so be very careful. But I'm going to tell you, like I was telling you before, the real photo experts can tell still. Even with my photos that I manipulate, they can look at it easily and be, obviously that's fake. But I guarantee you the ones that I do show you that are real, like those ones with the UFO, you haven't seen nothing yet, what I'm about to show you that I've taken with that Canon. They'll tell you, nope, that's real. That's not fake. This is about the pre-Phoenician thing again. Tell you that the Inky in the World Order, Azazel, being one of the chief, he went against God. God said, ascribe him all sin. He's the angel of the bottomless pit. Book of Nicodemus again talks about how he becomes prince or even over Satan. You know why that is exactly? Because Satan tried to pull another one down there and tried to tell Azazel, hey, don't let him in this gate and blah, blah, blah. He's trying to get him in more trouble, basically because he didn't want to pay, but he wanted others to pay more of a price than him. Azazel didn't listen this time. He said, no, listen, you got me in too much trouble already. I'm not listening to your lies anymore. And wait a second. If God already Christ just conquered death, and He's already broke through all the other gates, and you're telling me to stop Him on this last gate, you think I can actually stop Him? Come on. And because of that little bit of sense, Christ broke in right then, much quicker than I guess Satan thought. So, whoa, caught with his pants down. What are you doing, Satan? Man, you know what? You were going to be the king of hell, prince of hell down here, the boss. Nope. You're going to be the, excuse me, you're going to be the bitch. You're going to be the lowest. I'm sorry for using that word, but I mean, I'm going to be straight with you people, because I tell people all the time what sins I still smoke. That's a habit that I have not been able to kick yet. I've done much better. I only smoke maybe a couple, 2 or 3 cigarettes a day, which is really good for me, considering I came from a smoking home and was given cigarettes at a young age. My dad used to get me drunk at 5. That's another story. Yeah, I gave up alcohol a good while back. I was injured and I got hooked on pain medicine. Took me a long time to get off oh my goodness, methadone was horrible. And it's not the same thing as meth, by the way, so you people know. It's just got an ingredient, I think, like the methancarbinol has with anything. Methane, that's just a combination, what do you call that, composite, something like that. And basically, anyway, it was horrible. It was worse than heroin. That's what I've, been told by everybody, and from what I know, it is. And because I had pain medicine before that got me on with it, because I thought, I believed the government were going to look out for me in the end, because I'm a veteran. I'm 8 years. And then I found out so much about them. It was horrible, and I did not re-enlist, thankfully. That's when my eyes started opening about how crooked our government was. It hadn't opened up fully yet about a lot of things that God still had in store for me, like the shape of the earth, the angel classes, the seraphim, the Anunnaki, things like that. The New World Order, even. I knew there was bad people in the government. I knew that we were not fighting, as soldiers were not fighting for the freedoms of the people. I knew that much. We were fighting for the wallets, people in charge with the money. This pre-Phoenician, same rock, at the very bottom it says, the Son cometh. And it talks about Son of Man, Son of God. This was somebody got hold of the stone. And it was, your New World Order, You think that's going to, well, we're going to, and they inscribed that at the bottom. So that stone was then hidden because of it. They couldn't have it on display after that. He even showed a constellation. Notice that. It's Orion. So what does that tell you? That there's certain angels involved that will be with him. He tells you he comes with his thousands, 10,000s of angels. When he comes, and there are not 2 raptures, people. There's not a pre-rapture. There's not a, no. He says, I tell you this, all these things must happen before I come. And when he comes, that's when it's done. And then they have the 1,000-year reign. After that, we let Satan loose for a season, and he doesn't pull off a trick that time. And then that's when the New Jerusalem and everything. And then God creates a whole new heaven and a whole new earth. Everything else is destroyed. All the old is gone. Even this earth. Because this earth is going to be here for another 1,000 years at least, on top of the tribulation and after Christ comes, because of the 1,000-year reign of Jerusalem. But then after that, nope. Bye-bye earth. We get a new heaven, new earth, new everything. Satan is destroyed completely. All bad spirits are destroyed. That's a much closer view of that. This is Iraq. And I watched a video not too long ago about a certain professor who had a lot of interesting finds that I got these pictures from. This shows, obviously, this guy's received